Welcome, mountain bikers. Thanks to tuning in to Vital MTB's The Inside Line podcast. I'm your host, Sean Spomer. Let's get my title up. Boom. We're here with an incredible human today. We're live. Why not? It's more fun to go live, right? We got an incredible human, an incredible mountain biker, Mr. Braydon Bringhurst. Thanks for being on the show. Stoked to see you here.
Thanks for having me.
Dude, no sweat. I hope it's going to be fun. We'll see what we do.
Let's hope. Thanks for everyone listening.
Yeah, it's awesome to see just people out there already commenting. Yeah. Someone's angry. It should be downhill only. All right. A little intro before we get going. But Braydon was on the show about 4 years ago. It's been that long. Can you believe that?
Wow.
And you've become a good friend over the years. Appreciate it. And today we're going to discuss your life over the last 2 years as you tackle the infamous Whole Enchilada Trail in Moab and turning that into a feature-length film called 8,600 Feet. Yeah, pretty stoked to talk about that. Before we get into it, there is a live chat on YouTube, and we'll try to get to some of those questions later in the episode. In order to kind of mitigate spam, you do have to be a subscriber to our channel. It just keeps things a little cleaner for us. And if you're not a video watcher, this whole interview will be in our podcast channel later today. And if you just search Vital MTB, it should show up just fine there. Last but not least, thanks to jensenusa.com. Use coupon code Inside Line, all one word at checkout. Get 10% off qualifying items. Got Maxxis tires. They've supported the Inside Line. I know Braydon uses those to get up the whole enchilada and back down. And Santa Cruz Bicycles has sponsored the Inside Line. It's almost 6 years that we've been doing this. And I'm extremely grateful for all the support from Jensen, Maxxis, and Santa Cruz. So thanks. So let's move into it. We'll do a little bit of ice breaking here with some rapid fire questions.
All right.
Cake or pie?
Cake or pie? When I was younger, it was for sure cake. Now I appreciate a good boysenberry pie.
Boysenberry?
With a little ice cream.
Interesting. All right. So like a fruit pie more than like chocolate or something like that?
I mean, I like... Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, cool. Rut track or slope style trail?
It's just like food. It just depends how I'm feeling that day. Do I feel like taking more risk, or do I feel like being a little more technical and slow? Just like food options for me. I like a wide variety.
Okay, sweet. Muddy trails or dry trails? I know we don't get a lot of mud around here.
Yeah, it's incredibly dry here in Boise. And if you don't accept the fact that it's dry, loose, and a wild program, it can bum you out. So I'm just accepting loose and super drifty, trails, and I love it.
All right, sweet. Introvert or extrovert?
Oh, I would say introvert. Yeah. It's been interesting as I've continued to move into a space of getting out and talking and kind of work through that. But I just love so much what I'm doing that I find the ways to do it.
All right, sweet. All right, last but not least, going down or up the whole enchilada?
Oh, down for sure.
Sweet. Well, it's been a whirlwind, eh?
Yeah.
Like, I've got the trailer for 8,600 feet queued up, so we'll play that so everyone can see just how nuts you are.
All right.
See if this works. Boom.
Greg, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing well. I have a crazy idea.
Let's hear it.
I've been really putting a lot of thought into this, and I want to set out and climb the whole enchilada.
Yeah? Okay. Like everything.
I would say with 100% certainty, no one has ever cleaned the entire thing.
What makes it truly breathtakingly difficult is just the sheer number of high-intensity movements that he has to make.
He doesn't ever do anything halfway. He goes all out.
I just tell myself, like, I got this. Like, I can do this.
Not just riding talent, it's the mental strength, it's the support network behind him, and it's his kind of ability to dream a little bit bigger.
What I love about Braydon is that he has figured out how to train his mind as deliberately as most athletes train their bodies.
I feel major inspiration from Cody for this climb.
The conscious mind is completely and utterly dominated by human language. So when you tell yourself, I can't do this, those are the worst things you could say.
Oh, I hurt so bad. I can do this. I'm not gonna hold back from doing things that, hopefully will help somebody else. Oh my gosh.
Is it possible?
Is it possible?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm gonna do this.
Boom. What's it like watching it now? Like, do you have that thing memorized in your sleep?
Oh, yeah. I mean, my wife's editing this, or she's edited it.
Yeah.
And, I'm right around. So I've seen it a lot, and we go back and forth on things. But yeah, seeing it is, it's just kind of crazy to think that it's like a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hope people enjoy it.
Dude, they do, I can guarantee. Speaking of that, we had the premiere in Boise 2 nights ago, and it was awesome. It was an awesome time. But let me make sure I have the right button here. Let's see how premiere night went.
All right.
Did a little filming of it.
Oh, cool.
I think they spelled cemetery wrong. Sure.
Yeah. Is this your first premiere for it, or have you been to others?
I went to Moab and down to Colorado.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Columbo.
How you doing?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Thank you. This film is it's been a lot of work, and I'm so thankful that it came together, and it's been such a process. It started as a 30-minute like vlog style presentation to the whole concept of this thing, and then it worked itself into a 90-minute feature film.
Dude, did you think it'd be sold out?
Absolutely not. No way.
I know you and I have talked, and like getting up there is nerve-wracking and stuff, but you handled it just fine. Like, what are you thinking when you're going on stage like that?
There's a lot of motivation behind this film that I have to kind of keep going back to.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, getting up in front of people and putting myself out there like this is really hard for me. And so, you know, we'll go into it in this podcast, I'm sure, but there's a lot of things that have happened that have motivated me to do this and put myself out there and kind of overcome my insecurities and what people will think about me and stuff. And I'm just learning to accept I am who I am, and I want to do good and put out good things. And that's kind of what I have to keep telling myself is I can do this. Like, it's scary. This podcast is scary. Going to these premieres is scary, but you know, it raised all the ticket proceeds went to my local trail org, and I love them and what they're doing and advocating for and everything. And to be able to use some of my talents or whatever to help support what they're doing feels great. And then it's just I just want everybody in the crowd to come away feeling better and motivated to take on their own mountains. And so that's just what I remember, and that gives me kind of the strength to just do it.
Yeah. There was a little bit of a hiccup that night. Like, there's some sound issues and some glitches. And you didn't start over, but you stopped the premiere and got it sorted. Whose idea was that?
Oh, that was my wife, Nicole, the director and editor of this whole thing. It started to play, and Nicole looked at me and she's like, "This looks horrible. And this sounds horrible." And the frame rate was glitching, the audio, you could hardly hear it. And I was just like, I'm already stressed to the max. Yeah, let's just suffer through it. She's like, "No, like, I'm gonna leave. I am so frustrated." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I mean, we can do whatever." And so she went up to the person managing it all and said, "We got to figure this out." So yeah, she went up on the mic, apologized, said, "Take a break."
Dude, she just walks down the aisle and we're like, "Whoa, what's she doing?" She's like, "I can't handle it. We got to stop and figure this out. We put so much work into it." Like, that was awesome. Yeah.
Well, that, that was on the day of it playing in our hometown with our family and friends. And, you know, I wish I could say that was the only struggle making the film, but there was so many. So it was just like, okay, yeah, this is how it's gone. We're just going to keep fighting through. And it ended up showing, and people seemed to really enjoy it. And just hearing people's, thoughts after just makes me feel super good.
Awesome, dude. You should feel good about it.
Thanks.
Well, Braydon was kind enough yesterday to entertain a quick ride with me after the premiere. I thought he'd be asleep all day, but we went to Eagle Bike Park and rode the rut track, which basically you and your friends helped build, right? Like, it was your idea.
Yeah, there was a lot of people that helped, but yeah.
Okay. And so this is a poorly angled clip, but I used to hate this trail. I didn't even know why you put it in. I thought it was completely dumb, and now it's my favorite trail. So
awesome.
Yeah. So let's go have a little ride.
Okay.
If I hit the right button, is it working? Hold on. Technical difficulties. There we go.
Are you alive?
Boom. How you doing?
Good. Up here at 86 feet. It's pretty high up here. You made it!
Yeah, dude.
I thought you'd be sleeping all day.
Yeah.
Way to go.
It's scary, dude.
I
It's
bet.
really scary.
I bet. I couldn't even imagine.
It's like makes me
Pressure.
weak in the knees,
Really?
I didn't know
Go
you were
slow as you
filming.
can.
My squeaky brake.
Slower. I used to hate this track. Now it's the only thing I ride here.
Sorry, I blew up the camera.
You're gonna
angle.
drop me.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, wheelie. All right, I'm back. The run. Here, old. And he's gone.
Later.
Whoa, the dirt's so good.
Dude, it's insane.
That's all I wanted to do is come ride this today.
That was seriously an excuse. I just wanted to go ride
Yeah.
a trail. It had rained and like I wanted to ride with you. And the only reason I show that is that you're so fun to ride with. Like,
Thanks.
we're going to talk about your ridiculous accomplishment here, but you're so down to earth. You're down to go skid down the trail so I can try and keep up and like have a good time. Like,
Man, it's just so fun to ride. I just love when people are excited to ride. And yeah, I mean, you were crushing it. I followed you down it. Your footwork, the bike's leaning and dancing and drifting. It's awesome.
yeah, like I said, I learned it from watching you. So, yeah, keeping it going. But let's get into the whole enchilada.
Okay, let's do
And
it.
We'll go whole enchilada, like the actual prep and day. We'll get to the movie making, all that stuff. But
Okay.
how many times had you ridden down it before you thought about going up?
That's a funny question.
Because you haven't been riding bikes all that long.
Not that long. I mean, I've been riding bikes for a long time.
Yeah, mountain
But
bikes. Sorry.
full suspension, full set of gears, trail bike. Yeah, since 2016. And, I had heard about the whole enchilada. So maybe October 2016, I went down
Okay.
and did the whole enchilada.
Mhm.
It was one of the first epic rides I did. And I almost just despised it. It was so hard.
Mm.
There's like a 6 to 8 mile stretch before the end rim that's just a Jeep road, and it just beats you to death.
Mhm.
You're so rattled, and it's just constant, just so I just remember that trail is very tough. And then, I did sections of it, a handful of times. We would do Porcupine Rim often because the top was often snowed out. But doing top to bottom, I did it that one time.
Mhm. That was it.
That was
One
it.
time.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know you dig into the movie a little bit about this,
Yeah.
but why did you want to go up? When did you think, hey, this is a good idea?
Yeah.
And walk us through that.
Yeah, so never considered going up it until I would go down there with my great friend and mentor, Kyle Mears.
Mhm.
And he's a absolute legend in my book. When I had just my little private Instagram, I messaged out and I said, "Hey, Kyle, I just got a mountain bike. I'd love to come ride with you." And he's like, "Yeah, for sure, bud. Come meet me." And so we met up and we rode and just became great friends. I mean, he's like 51, I think.
He's that old?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was like mid-30s.
He's incredible. So I was like, "What's your story?" And he had been there for 25 or 30 years or
Mhm.
something. And I just love learning from people that know. And he knows. And I would go ride with him, and he would, over the years, take me to certain features and aspects of the trails out there, and he'd kind of say, "Give it a shot." And I'm like, "No way."
Like to go up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
try this. Because we like, trail riding, and part of trail riding is going up.
Mhm.
And not that that's any more enjoyable. I would almost say a little less enjoyable than going down, but I enjoy it a lot. And I know Kyle does, and a handful of other people. And so I just appreciated Kyle's approach to riding everything. And so I would go down there, ride with him. And for example, he took me to this place out at Bartlett's Wash. It's called the Toilet Bowl, and it's this crazy drop-in thing. He's like, "Give it a shot." And I'm just like, there's no way. It's just too steep. And as I started trying it and attempting it, it's like I all of a sudden was like, I don't really know what's possible. I I think I could do this.
Yeah.
And then those little moments just added up. And then I was like, no, like, why would I ever climb like the whole enchilada?
Mm.
But then some things happened, is specifically in 2020 when I've been making, you know, little shredits in the mountain bike world and having a blast with it. But 2020 hit, and there was just a different energy and struggle out in the world, it felt like. And I thought, you know, I kind of want to do something that hopefully could maybe somehow help someone. And I don't have crazy like world-changing skills or anything. I'm confident, probably some of the most confident things in life is riding my bike, and I'm okay at making films. That's like an aspirational thing. I really want to get good at making films, and I've ridden a bike since I was 4 years old, and it's been a lifelong developing process. It's always been the thing that I've turned through, good or bad. It's a true passion. So I thought, what can I do? And it's like, I just had this idea, like, you know, this is a literal climb. It's epic. It's going to be hard for me. I believe I could do it. And I would hope to share that process so people can see me struggling and fighting through the process of climbing this literal mountain, but then they can take it to their own figurative, real life mountains and hopefully come away feeling motivated or whatever. Different for each person.
Yeah. What was the kickoff? Is it
the kickoff? Yeah, I got
that banger move.
Oh, to the trail?
Yeah, when you realize, like, okay, maybe this is something I can do.
Well, I kind of feel like I know I can climb a certain type of terrain. I know I'm not very good at trials mountain biking, and all respect to that. I think it's awesome. It's not my background. And so I adapted to like a more flow, Chris Ackrig-ish climbing style where you're keeping flow, you have line choice. It really comes down to modulating your power outputs and all of these things that are fun to me. And I kind of stepped back and looked at the whole trail. And I thought, there's no reason why I couldn't climb this. It's going to take a lot of physical work, mental work, and then somehow I need to make a movie. But it was like going to just be a 30-minute, two 15-minute little vlog style short docs. And then it just continued to evolve, and people were like, hey, take your time.
Okay.
Trust your process and don't feel rushed. Like, my sponsors were so supportive. And I really appreciated that.
Had you pitched it to them like before doing it, or did you get sort of in the process?
So I was pretty quiet about it. And real quick, I'll just say, here in the Boise community, I am so grateful to be part of the Boise scene and what's going on here. So many passionate people. And there was a kid that I saw shredding at Boise Bike Park. And I wanted to be like, man, you got to get some support. Like, you're a sick rider. And his name was Chris, and we had been in touch, and it was like a couple weeks later that I learned he took his life.
Oh,
yeah. And it was like he was in the picture, and then it's like he was gone. And then it was like 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, I swear it was that close. There was a father of 2 that was a mountain biker that took his life. And I was just like, man, you know what? Like, people are being tested really hard right now.
Yeah.
And having a cousin that I explain and talk about in the film take his life, where I was with his brother the day before he did it. I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna use the skills that I have, and I'm gonna go for it. And so, the biggest question mark to me was the Snotch. The Snotch is a feature, for those that don't know, it's 37% grade, crazy switchbacks, incredibly rocky, technical, has sandy aspects to it, gaps in the slabs going up that you have to jump up. Just really technical. That was the big question mark. So in 2020, October, November, I went down there with my buddy Dakota, and I just dabbled on that climb. And I posted it on Instagram, and I said, I think it might be possible. And people just like erupted saying, if anyone can do it, you can do it. And that was like a pretty motivating factor, because, you know, a big part of this climb wasn't just me. It was people believing and like encouraging, and even if it was just a DM or somebody texting me or out on the trail saying you can do it, like it added up. And it was that hard for me, but all of those little words of encouragement played a role. So it just kind of evolved. And then when I kind of hurt my ankle a few weeks before I was supposed to go down and film showing me work through these climbs, I went down in like May or something, 2021. So 5 months prior to the climb date. It just punched me in the face. And I was like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? That's when in the trailer, Nicole, my wife, is like, is it possible? And I'm like, yes, because I was not thinking it was going to be that hard. Because I knew I wasn't there physically. I had technical aspects of my climbing that I needed to dial in. And then the Snotch was 4,000 feet into the ride.
Yeah, it's like halfway, right?
It was halfway, and I had been doing jumping jacks up to that point because it's constant ledges all the way there. So it was pretty daunting, but I just embraced it.
When Nicole asks if you can do it and you say you can, like, did you really believe it, or did you have some doubt?
There was for sure that those doubts there in my mind. But I just exercised a little faith and just kept telling myself and trying to believe that I could do it. And I don't show it in the film, so people won't know even when it comes out, but that Snotch over all of those months was between 700 and 800 attempts, and you know, 6 trips to the Snotch alone. And then on the day, I was prepared, and I had visualized, and I knew where to put my pedals and where to put the power down and and it was just, I was super grateful things worked out.
Oh my goodness. Dude, that's so gnarly.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, you have like a countdown of attempts in the movie, but 600 or 700? Is that what you said?
700 or 800. Yeah. Yeah. It was just totally crazy.
Yeah, it is. Let's give the quick specs of the day. It was what, 8,600 vertical feet?
Yeah. So the trail is like start to finish about 7,800 feet.
Okay.
And about 27 miles ish, 26 something if I went perfect. But obviously, like, I did as good as I could training, and then the day of there was extra effort put forth. So redos, had to go back down from start to finish. There were multiple sections that took me many attempts. and it had ended up clocking in right around 8,600 feet and 32 miles. So it was 5 extra miles, 800 extra feet. Grateful it worked out. And you know, there's people out there that have climbed the trail and come down, and props to them. They're bad to the bone people. And that's all the respect in the world. This approach that I had was unique to my own riding type and approach, and I did it the way that I wanted to, and I don't want it to be about who did it first or who did it whatever.
Sure.
All the respect to the people that have done it. I mean, there's guys that I've been in touch with that are like, hey, we do this every year, and I'm like, you guys are animals.
No way, every
Props
year.
to you. Yeah. They go up and down in 7 hours. Took me 13 to go up. Like, I was slow, but it was all part of the strategy and the training and all that. So yeah, it's just my own challenge, and showing the process is what I hope people come away seeing, and how I was able to work through the process. And it wasn't just me. It was so many other people. It was my mental strength coach that I have had the privilege of working with, and you know, bringing him into the story is I think really cool that he allowed me to come out and interview him. He's in Milwaukee. He's with the Milwaukee Bucks, the NBA team, and he said, yeah, you can come. So I flew over there, went to his house, interviewed him. The Milwaukee Bucks, like, higher ups were there to make sure we weren't, you know, doing something
Were you there
against.
during the draft or something?
It was during the draft, yeah. So I was like, okay. And then at the end, hit the people from the Bucks were like, this is amazing. So
cool.
Yeah, it was a massive team effort. And
yeah, can we talk about working with Greg Montgomery and kind of how he got involved? Because I mean, he's your kind of nutrition expert, your endurance expert, and you know, what did he bring to the project?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm all about pizza and Skittles and Pop-Tarts, and Greg is a super athlete, and he's a dear friend. We both have a background in track and field, and I was the short sprinter, explosive guy, and he was the endurance guy, and we were still on the same team, you know, not literally on the same team, but I just learned to accept people at their different styles. And with riding, it's like, it doesn't matter you like gravel riding or, you know, super endurance mountain biking. Like, we love riding, and that's cool. So with this, I instantly had a good connection with Greg when I moved to back to Boise after college, and we started riding together. And I'm slow on the climbs, and he would come out and just talk, and sometimes he would come out on an e-bike and turn it off, so he had some extra resistance. But he's just such a good friend, and lots of great conversation, and we were both raised very differently, but we talk, and we just have a great friendship. And when this idea came, I knew Greg had a very great background in endurance. And so I asked him, and that was the conversation in the beginning of the trailer.
Yeah.
I'm like, Greg, I have this idea. And, you know, all the technical aspects of riding, I felt confident in. But that endurance world and nutrition and all of that, I had to trust somebody, and that was Greg. And
what were some of the, like, kind of the stats on what you prepared and what you ate, how much you drank, and all that? I think one of the funniest scenes in the movie is when you're eating a bar and you're dry heaving. So
yeah,
funny.
I mean, when I go ride, typically I don't even have water.
Yeah.
I don't like eating. It's just, I can make it like 15 to 20 miles with no water or snacks, and I'm stoked.
Yeah.
I mean, I just drink a ton before. But that wasn't going to work. And so Greg was like, okay, we need to do training rides. We need to practice how your body's going to react in that system or that structure. Every hour you eat this much, we drink this much liquid, and we did it. I learned I could keep going if I ate. It was the gasoline.
Yeah.
And so that's what we did. And there was just so much of, Greg, I gotta trust you. I don't have the energy. We're trying to film this, and I've got to work with the filmers and Kim, and me and my wife are having our third baby, and the weather's coming, and it was just a crazy time. And so I've just learned, I couldn't have done this without people that were right there putting a lot of effort into it as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
So let's kind of go into, I want to switch over to this picture. That's you and your dad at the bottom down there. And I mean, that section looks daunting enough, but what was it like to have your support crew there? Because was he there the whole day?
Yeah, he was there. He kind of drove the crew around and went and got sandwiches, and he was my dad is absolutely my biggest fan, and it doesn't matter what it is I'm doing. He's the most supportive and always proud of me, and that's not something he had growing up.
Yeah.
And so this was just a bike ride, but I wanted him there to see it. And, I hope to take this experience and be the kind of father that he's been to me, to my kids. And yeah, it was just cool having him there.
Yeah. It seemed like it. The way he talks about you in the movie, and just, seeing your pictures when you're a young kid, and you can just tell how proud he is of you. So it's that photo when you sent the press photos, like that literally was the one that stood out to me the most, that was a really neat one. So
thank you.
Glad he could be there. All right. So you make it through the bottom of the banger is the first one.
The banger is what we titled it.
Yeah. All right. And then the snaggle, you called it. Yeah. Let me run this little clip here.
Okay.
And talk about snaggle and kind of anger and dealing with frustration on the day.
I was worried about his just overall stress level. I was like, is he more tired than he's been letting on,
There's a couple instances in the movie, like right there, it's not huge, but kind of punch your hands when you're filming the Snotch with Nicole. Like you get angry enough, you kind of want to throw your bike. Like, how did you deal with those times? And the snaggle specifically, like watching it for the first time, I'm like, dude, you're not even anywhere near the top, and this is a struggle. Like, what was it like on that day for you?
Yeah, for sure. So I just knew going into this that I needed to get the climbs quick and efficiently. And if I didn't, it was just taking away from the reality of making it.
Yeah.
And so every ounce of energy that I had to be careful with. And that feature alone, for those that, watch the film when it comes out next Wednesday, you'll see that section took 52 attempts.
Yeah, dude, I was watching and I'm like, you're hosed.
Yeah. I didn't let my mind think that.
Okay.
But that was absolutely like, this is making it tougher.
Yeah.
This is really dumb. But when I wanted to chuck the bike off a cliff, I was like, that's not going to do any good. I need this bike to ride. And, you know, as those few moments where I punched my fist or my hand and just like let some frustration out, I just like tried to contain it and then put that energy into my legs, into my focus, and use that frustration to keep going. Because, oh man, it was hard. It was really hard.
Yeah. Understatement of the year. Yeah.
Oh.
But okay, so you get past the snaggle,
Yeah.
and then the way you cut in the movie, it's basically like the Jeep road on up to the Snotch, right?
Yeah.
You're like wheelie climbing and just like having fun. Like, was that on purpose? Was that just kind of instinct? Like, oh, I made it. Here we go.
Yeah. That's just how I have to ride.
Yeah.
If I'm not having fun or looking for little wall rides or rock stub jump off, I'm not riding the way I want to ride. It's got to be fun, you know, and climbing it's a part of riding that I really respect, but I've got to have fun. And so, yeah, obviously, like, I had to be careful with my energy and not just being dumb, but
not
like
waste it. Yeah.
not waste it. But it's also important to me in my mental space to have fun. So I'm doing wheelies. I made sure I hit all the most difficult routes. I didn't go around anything that was like, I purposefully went out of the way and hit the toughest little
Didn't you go
side hits.
up that like huck to flat that everyone loves to hit?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Why
that's where
not?
Greg's like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So like for me, it was just my own approach, and it was fun, and it was a beautiful day, and it just felt like the stars kind of aligned, and it was just really cool.
Okay.
And so
you kind of touched on it, but the Jeep road, I know it's not one of the crux maneuvers, but that just seemed like it would beat you down.
Yeah.
I mean, how long did that section take? Was it an hour or more?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think we accounted like 6 to 8 miles of, Greg says, 1,000 burpees, because it was just like up, jump.
Yeah.
You know, and we had to kind of like factor that into the training and how to, when I was first jumping up, and I mean, we did a lot of analysis and breakdown, and I would jump up a ledge and I would jump up 3 inches above and then drop on. And Greg was like, hey, like, you just wasted some energy. Like,
No way.
Yeah. So
If you're doing that 1,000 times, like 3,000 inches wasted, right?
Exactly. So making sure that I was putting out just enough max efficiency on every little move. So like when you watch it, it's pretty interesting to watch how it's just enough energy up the climbs. It's not any extra. And that was to preserve the energy that I had, because the end of this sucker it felt like straight up, and it was at 10,000 feet. And yeah.
I think it was in the trailer and in the movie, you do like a standing hop onto your kitchen counter.
Yep.
And I think that impressed everyone watching almost as much as the whole climb. Like, whoa. But someone commented in front of us, like, whoa, he was so smooth. Like, you jumped up and just right there. Was that part of that training?
Yeah. I mean, the plyometrics, the stuff that I do.
Yep.
It's absolutely about body positioning and maximum effort off the ground and landing in a certain position on top of the box or the table. You know, if you land and your knees are up to your chest, you're in a very not powerful position.
Okay.
And so landing with your knees at like 45, you're basically ready to do it again.
The spring again. Okay.
And so you would just work on that rhythm, and you'll see me on picnic tables and stuff. I do it on one leg to the first bench, to like a rebound jump to the top, and it's just creating those muscle rhythms or whatever you call it.
Okay. Do you actually use your kitchen island to do that, or did you just kind of do it for the movie?
No, absolutely. I mean, it's not realistic with our lives for me to always get to a gym and have nice boxes. So it's just like, it is what it is. I'll go do a run around the block, stretch, do some plyos, and just, it really developed when I was in track and field, because with pole vaulting, you don't have gravity helping you. You either have the power and speed to propel yourself down the runway, or you're not gonna get down the runway. So like everything was accounted for, and I spent 5 years lifting weights and paying attention to rest in between reps and maximizing the muscles that I have versus just building bigger muscles, just training the muscles in different ways to be maximum explosive without maximum weight gain or all these things. So it was a lot of stuff that I did in college. And then I have throughout the years kind of just maintained. I've definitely decreased in like maximum explosiveness and all this, but it definitely is something, I don't know, I enjoy. It's fun to train differently. I can't just do the same thing every day. So I break up my training in multiple different ways. And that's one thing that I enjoy. I enjoy staying nice and light and being able to jump and hop in here. And
it's rocking cat.
Yeah.
You are.
Right.
We talked about the snotch a little bit. Did you think the top, like the exit, was going to be so tricky?
That thing was tough in practice. Really tough. I got it maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 times.
Okay.
So I wasn't as concerned about it as that first part. But on the day of, that was brutal.
Yeah.
Because I almost got it first try.
Yeah.
And then it just like started compounding again. Kind of like I used to do skateboarding when I was a kid, and you always get so mad that you jump and break your board. It's like, why does it get harder when you're trying
more often?
Yeah. And so it was definitely like, okay, just breathe. You got this. And then I just have to focus on my cues, bounce the front wheel on that rock, pedal, let the bike pivot, carry on speed. Like all these cues that I had to.
Can you still see that in your head right now?
I have it visualized, memorized, everything.
Yeah.
So I had to in my notes on my phone, I wrote down all my cues. I visualized them leading up to the big day. And that helped me execute quicker on the most difficult moves, because I did. Yeah. It was the little unexpected ones that were like, confusing me, because I just wanted to be past it, when in reality, I still needed to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel after the snotch? Because that seems like this monumental achievement, which it is, but you're halfway.
Right. So I'm halfway. I'm showing that the snotch is supposed to be like 14 miles in.
Yeah.
Reality is and 4,000 feet. Reality is I'm at 4,500 feet personally on attempts. And then I'm also at 17 miles.
With all the do-overs.
I should have been at 14 and 4,000 if I had ridden perfectly.
Were you keeping track of that stuff?
I just had my Garmin watch on.
Okay.
Yeah, so I could kind of see where I was, and I knew I should have been at 14, and on my watch I was at 17. I'm like, oh, that's not good. But we kind of we trained with that a little bit in mind, so we knew it was going to be bigger than on paper. 27-ish miles, 8,000 feet. And so we were ready, but we didn't think it would be this hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you approach, the second half, like, how are you feeling? Are you still keeping upbeat, or
Yeah. I'm getting a little worried because there was a storm coming.
Yep.
And then obviously my biggest worry physically was after all of those really dynamic, explosive, powerful moves and the endurance. I was really worried about cramping. I know that that's a thing that I've had to work through on like longer rides. Nothing this long. So I was pretty worried about it because once the cramps comes, I mean, it can shut you down.
Yeah.
So Greg noticed my physical exhaustion after the Snotch, and him and Kyle basically gave me all their water, food, and when I got to the top of Hazard, so we did Kokopelli and Hazard, Kyle Mears jumped on his bike and rode up the last half with me. I was starting to cramp, and I was like, oh crap. But I saw the clouds rolling in, the rain started to fall, and then I was grabbing a drink, and in the car I saw 42 degrees or something. And I was like, we got 2,000 feet to go. It's 42 degrees here, and it's raining.
Yeah.
Like, this whole thing's in jeopardy. So I was like,
And it's the hardest 2,000 feet.
And it's the hardest, steepest, loosest, craziest 2,000 feet that I do. And it was like fire was lit underneath me. Like,
when you were in the car and you saw the temperature and the time and
stuff.
stuff?
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's do this. And that actually helped. It helped me mentally, like embrace like this whole thing's in jeopardy.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh, all right. Well, let's look at your teaser of the last section in the rain.
Yeah.
It was cold. It was getting dark, and we knew it was going to be snowing. I just thought it was over.
This is so much harder than I thought it would be. I wanted to train more. I wanted to be more prepared.
Dude, that section, forget it. How many times did you ride? You tried to ride up once, right? Like, you
I did.
sussed it out?
I did. And then it was I was on a full day of recovery, and it was still hard.
Yeah.
But when I was repeating features.
Yeah, in the mud?
In the frickin' slimy roots, and like walking back down and telling myself, all right, I got good traction. Like, I can do this. And I'm just thinking like, yep, you could, like, I didn't have the space to accept how horrible it was. Looking back, I definitely have like PTSD a little bit.
Really?
Just on that section.
Yeah. Because
it was feeling like it was never stopping. And we're just trucking up this foggy, dark mountain. And, but Greg, Kyle, Tori, they were just like, you got this, man. Like, you can do this. Yeah. And it was special. Yeah.
That was no joke. Do you feel like you were a little kind of delirious at the end there, like, because of how long it was? Like, some of your reactions in the movie, kind of like, are you all there? Like,
yeah,
I know you had to be, the way you were, but like, in hindsight, like, do you remember all of it, or are there some parts you don't remember?
It was absolutely tapping into my physical and mental and emotional limits.
Yeah.
I was absolutely at the brink, and I just had to do what I have learned, and that's keep a can-do mindset, continue self-positive talk. I was fortunate to have people around that kept encouraging me and making me eat and do things that I didn't want to do, but I knew I needed to if I wanted to make it. So, yeah, I would say I was definitely delirious and all of those things when I was that close to just pure exhaustion. But it was within reach. The rain was holding off. I kept like focusing on the things that were good, and like we had an amazing day up to that point. We were almost there. We were doing this, and like that's just what I had to focus on. And then when I wouldn't make another section, what was still going good? I had traction. This is good. I have traction. So it was just constantly trying to find the positive when it was a really, really hard time.
Was the summit what you thought?
No, I was expecting a beautiful sunset because I wanted to finish in the daylight or close to, sunset or whatever. And it was completely black, couldn't see a thing. But that really was a kind of a cool experience to realize like I made it. But I'm so glad I enjoyed the whole day.
Yeah.
And then I also just, it's like I couldn't take credit. There was so many that helped me make that. And that's something that I want people to see and to know, that I didn't do this self-supported. I didn't have all my own food and water. And, like my buddy Greg ran 29 miles that day and helped carry water and food and snacks. And Kyle rode with me, and I was getting texts from my wife and family. And, it was not just something that I mustered out and climbed.
Right.
It was a lot of people that played a role in it.
Yeah. All right. On that, I want to talk about Dr. Manning and his training. Got this little teaser here.
The conscious mind is completely and utterly dominated by human language.
You can do this. You can do this. Okay, here we go. Woo! Yes, bears!
Dude, I love that. I love that. And when you let me see it early, I had no idea about any of this, about Dr. Manning's, training, that you apply that to your life. And all of that stood out to me as fascinating. And I know you touch on the movie a little bit, but I want to know more about it. And I know you and I have talked about it a little bit, but it's not as simple as me saying, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it 3 times every day. And my life has changed. But can you just
absolutely
unpack all of that?
Yeah. I love Dr. Manning. He is somebody that I have spent a ton of time studying and applying. And he is so legit. He has spent so many years dedicated to his craft in figuring out a formula that works. And there's so much to it, but he developed, through going and getting his PhD, and he says it in the film, but neuroplasticity, the structure of the mind and connecting neuroconnective tissues in thought patterns to basically unlock the mind to being fearless and accepting failure as part of moving forward.
And it's a physical thing in your brain, not just I say it, I feel good. Like it's actual physical
It's a
changes.
physical thing. It's like, if you think about like a river, okay? The water runs down the river. It creates a groove in the earth. Sometimes there's rocks or debris that makes water go off to the side, and water gets off track and starts going through, and it splits out. The more the water runs through that split off, the deeper those grooves get. And basically it's correcting and keeping the water flowing through the correct and most impactful neural pathways.
Okay.
Keeping the energy focused on a can-do mindset, a positive mindset, focused on the task at hand, living in the present, not worrying about the future, not feeling guilty about the past, focused on what you're doing now and living as in the present as possible. going after goals that are just beyond your reach, not goals that you're like, I'm gonna
like ride up the Empire State Building.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like so far from your reality. It's just a little bit further. And when you can accept that, hey, this is just a little bit beyond my reach, I feel motivation versus discouragement. You feel like I can do this, and you have to-dos that you're focused on today. And then you're focusing on what you did well and one thing that you could do better. And you do that day after day, and over time, you realize that's the beauty of accomplishing anything. It was in the process. And I listened to your podcast with Kyle Warner. You said, I love the process of creating things. And then when it's done, it's like, oh yeah, like I don't really care. It was fun making it. You totally get it. When you love something that you're doing, you enjoy the process. You enjoy doing it. And then, you know, the consequences or the rewards or whatever are just a byproduct. You don't live for that.
Yeah.
You live for the process and doing what you love. And so it's a lot of stuff you already understand, and a lot of people understand it, but the fearless mind it gives structure in kind of a logical way that you can organize your thoughts. And Dr. Manning says your operating system. It's pretty important to make your own operating system as good as it can be.
Okay. It seems like the hardest part of it is the commitment and the practice. Did you, I don't know, you seem like you have, once you decide to do something, like you're regimented enough to get it done. Was it a matter of practicing for you?
That was it. Yeah. Wait, you're talking about the mental side?
Yeah.
I think it's come as I've wanted it. When I, like, all growing up, you know, and people see in the film, I've had a very privileged life, and I've been encouraged to just do the best I can. Don't worry about the results. Just close your eyes, visualize. You know, I raced BMX, I did snow skiing, I did pole vaulting, and it was all about just doing the best that I could do. And if I did that, I won, you know? So that was kind of how I was pushed. And then when I had that opportunity to go pole vault in college, and then also the weight of having to get through school and not feeling like I was very intellectually or academically smart, I was just super overwhelmed. And I started feeling like, oh my gosh, like I remember walking around campus and just feeling so much, I don't know if I can do this. And I remember tearing up and just getting emotional, like I don't think I can do this. Like my classes were super hard. We had workouts that were crazy hard, and I was just super overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And because I would just say here, for those that haven't seen the film or don't watch it, like I always struggled with academics. And it was like my biggest inadequacies. Like I just always felt dumb. And like it was when I started going to Dr. Manning, and he was working with the track team, and I worked with him for 5 years on a one-on-one basis. And then I took his class every semester, and I actually ended up interning for him. And because I love snow skiing and those sports. And he was working with Red Bull. He was working with David Wise, who's a professional half pipe skier. He's won the Olympic gold. And I was just like, okay, I'm pole vaulting over here, and that's cool. But like, he's working with my heroes. And so I was just like, I'm so stoked to be working with this guy that's having these same conversations with Sammy Carlson, who's an amazing skier, and David Wise, and, you know, all these amazing athletes. And so I just was like, that was probably one of the best things I learned in college, was the stuff that I learned through the Fearless Mind. And so it just came out of a desire to be better. And I felt it helping my school. I felt it helping my craft and my pole vaulting. I felt it bettering my life, and it is motivating when you see progress. I ended up, clearing heights that I had set goals to clear, and I did it. And I ended up graduating in a degree that I absolutely love. And I didn't even really think I could make it through school. And it was just, the desire for it came as I saw the progress, and it just continued to grow, and it still is just firing inside. And that's what's exciting is I never want to stop growing and learning and developing. And sorry, I'm blabbing a little bit.
No, not at all.
But one thing that I've loved so much specifically about being in the bike industry is this is an industry that people have a ton of passion for. When I was in college, every summer I would go out and I would sell pest control door to door.
Oh, really? Pest control?
Yeah.
And insurance, it said in the movie too, right?
Yep. That's what my parents did. So I knew that was a great thing. It's more of a year-round thing, but the summer sales with pest control I could go do between track season and the start of school. So I would go out and sell pest control. But
it's awesome.
I learned, like, if you want to do, if you just want to do things that you feel true passion for, and maybe some people do feel for building a business and selling pest controls, and good for them. I didn't. As I found mountain biking and the community of passionately filled people, it's just so exciting because people are living the fearless mind in this industry, and it's really fun. It's just, like talking with the engineers, John Canceller, I think.
Canceller, yeah.
Canceller.
RockShox, SRAM.
Yeah, just talking with those guys at Colorado Springs last year about flight attendant and the development that went into that, and working with the engineers for these wheels. And it's just so cool because in that world, they eat, sleep, and breathe wheels and tires and suspension. And it's cool. I mean, the passion in our industry is pretty special.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. And I know you mentioned it was, a big goal of yours to communicate the kind of the mental strength that you have and what Dr. Manning taught you, and you did that very well. And it's something I'd like to learn more about. So,
well, it's definitely not the case in just my personal life. This was like a glorified fearless mind example. As a bike ride, and it worked out, but in my own personal life, like, I'm still day in, day out working on being positive and having a can-do mindset and believing in myself. And I have to give a lot of call out and appreciation to the people around me that encourage me. And, my wife, my close friends, people that would never want to call out on here. They know who they are, but like people that, encourage me, because truthfully, I feel like I just want to do good, and I'm perfectly happy to do whatever's good. If I need to just provide for my family in different ways, I'm perfectly content and happy to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just feel really fortunate where I'm at and how things are kind of cruising.
Cool. Can we kind of talk about that?
Yeah.
Because I think in the movie you mentioned after your mission, you're kind of down, like it was low time. Since the climb, have you had a low, or is it kind of, there's still so much doing with the movie and all that? Or have you thought about what it might be after you peak so hard?
So there was the physical side of this component. with the actual climb. And that was just beyond my reach.
Okay.
And that worked out. That was amazing. What I didn't anticipate was the gap in making this a movie. There was a massive gap. It's like, I'm going to go climb the entire Empire State Building. It felt too big. And that created a lot of struggle. And I had to reach out to other creatives, you know, and like I said, they know who they are. They're very respected and some of the top people in mountain biking. But they talked about the process of editing and how you have to embrace the awful sides of editing and all these things. Emotionally, you know, there's many days you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it anymore. You feel like, you know, after this is out, I'm done. I'm ready to do something else.
Yeah,
You really approach that burnout. And so the climb was it. Now the past year has been full gas on making this project. And I would say I'm still in it. You know, we're talking about the film right now. We have these premieres. We had Moab, Colorado Springs, Boise a couple nights ago. This weekend we have Encinitas, and then the launch of this thing. And I'm just going where I feel passion with it. And there's a lot more cool opportunities, I think, coming with screening this and talking about mental strength in trail orgs all over, and just having it build the stoke of mountain biking and mental health and a lot of things I feel passion for.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
Thanks.
When did you decide, and it sounded like you were talking to people and people who support you, but to go from this sort of vlog project to a full feature film, like, was that did you know what it would entail?
No. I mean, I did get my undergrad in film and documentary in specific.
Okay.
You know?
Yep.
But I kind of just like looked at what we had. Tori Powers, great friend and principal cinematographer of this, sent over 2 hours straight of footage on the day of.
Wow.
2 hours. And then with interviews and the first trip down, we had another 8 hours.
Okay.
And I'm thinking 8 hours with plus Tori's 2 of the actual day, that's 10 hours. And that's no extra or additional interview shot. I feel like we're maybe cutting this thing a little short if we do 2 30-minute vlogs.
Yeah.
So just filling it out, it was like, okay, you know, we gotta just do our best.
Do something big,
and people were, because we were gonna come out with it in like February, then sea otter,
I kept getting pushed back.
Early summer, then late summer, then now November. And like I said, like the people, everybody was like, yeah, you can't rush the creative process. Kim Cross, she's the writer for this piece.
Yeah, how'd you find her?
So I met her at the Boise Bike Park. She was with her son, Austin, and they were just riding. And I was like, you're so rad. You're out here shredding the pump track. I was like, you're doing great. She was jumping like the hips and pumping through. And cool. I just love seeing that.
Yeah.
And we just got chatting, and it was like maybe a little bit later, she's like, hey, I'm doing an article on how to do a wheelie in Bike Mag or bicycling or something. I was like, oh, cool. She's like, I'm talking with Jeff Lanowski and these other people and getting tips from them. Would you be willing to give me some tips? I'm like, oh, you bet. Huh. So we met at the park. I gave her some of my tips on how to, you know, initiate doing a wheelie. And we just kind of became friends. And I was like, wow, you wrote a book? So I got her book, and she's a amazing rider. And then I learned about her childhood, and she's a world-class water ski athlete. She was top level athlete.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just respect so much what she's done and what she's doing with her talents and passions. And when I started thinking we're going to make this a film, I'm like, I need help. I need someone to help with the story. And so she came in, her and Nicole worked really closely.
Okay.
And, you know, because my personality, and like I've worked through it, like I said, just with the pain of losing some people, I don't want to share that much about me. There's a lot in this film people are going to learn that they would probably never have wanted to learn or didn't. It's just stuff that, you know, Kim says you have to develop the character.
Yeah, that's what you mentioned.
So, you know, there was a lot of things that she had to develop. Like I had to have the camera in my house and kind of just show my kids. And I'm like, no. But, you know, we did it in a way that I felt comfortable with ultimately. And it ended up, I feel like, being a good thing. And yeah.
Yeah, it's the story element, the way it was crafted and told, and the highs, the lows, the suspense. Like, it was just the way it all came together was awesome. Is Nicole the one at Premiere, Final Cut, whatever you guys use? Is she the one cutting everything up? Like, how closely you and she work together?
She's cutting everything up. Yeah. She's I just have to leave. I can't edit a film about me. It's like the hardest thing ever. I can do is shred it.
Yeah.
Because I know the nuances of writing and how to cut this and that and make it jam and cruise. But this, because we have done and still do a little bit wedding videography and photography.
Okay.
And she's so good at making a story, a little short film about these people's day. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. That's really good. I don't know how you went through all that footage, but she's really good at pulling out the story and the little nuances to reactions. And to me, that's just majorly overwhelming. So yeah, I do not touch the editing and the clipping of this thing together.
Okay.
I can help with cropping and shooting an interview or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Nicole.
I just think it's so cool that you can work together on it, you know?
Oh
like
yeah. We've definitely lost a few years on the back end of our lives. It's been hot. It's been tough.
Yeah. It's, you know, we'll start to wind down here a little bit, but
yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you didn't expect that have come up?
Just the amount of time, really. The amount of time this has taken. There have been thousands of hours put into this. There's not a dollar amount that this film is motivated by. It's pure passion, and it's supported enough to, I'm so grateful for people that are supporting it and all of these things, but this thing's going for free on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I don't want there to be any paywalls, any difficulties to watch it. I just want it to be out there. And I think that's one of the beauties of today is you can do cool things and put it out there.
Yeah.
And we have the platforms. As horrible as social media can be, there's some cool things to it too. And so I just wanted to get this out and do as much good as I can with it. And, you know, I don't, like, one of my friends says, you need to put this in film festivals. And I'm just like,
that's T-Sage. I'm going to out you, T-Sage.
Thanks so much, Sage. But, you know, like, I don't necessarily want any awards, or it doesn't need to win anything. I just, you know, at the end of the show on Monday night, a little 12-year-old girl came up and was just like, how do you keep that motivation? You know, and I just explained a little bit, but like that was it. Like, it's just amazing to me to have those little interactions that make it all worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you told me about Colorado Springs and the people that came up to you after.
Yeah.
Tell that story.
It was just
so
crazy.
Cool.
Well, the first screening, me and Scott Hart, thanks for everything, Scott.
Yeah, Hart.
We were in Moab, and they're like, hey, we got to let a few people in. They want to get the front row. And I'm like, oh, sure, sounds great. And it's some elderly people. And Scott looks at me like, can you believe the people that are coming to a mountain bike film? This is awesome. And I was like, wow, that is crazy. There's, grandmas and grandpas coming in and enjoying it.
Yeah.
And the story you just mentioned was in Colorado Springs, after the film got done screening, the first two people up to me were 70 and 80-year-old individuals. And they were like, crazy. That was so inspiring. You inspired me. And I'm just thinking, I can't believe you're saying that.
Yeah.
And then two people after, it was some high school kids. And just to think about the range is, it's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all you and your crew. It's freaking awesome.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's pretty wild.
Sweet. Did you ever want to quit? Just like fully quit to where you considered it? I know you had ups and downs and stuff, but
I would say there were times when it was really hard. Mm-hmm. But because of my cousin Cody, because of the people that I knew believed in me, and the message that I was hoping to get out there, it wasn't never, I just want to quit. It was just, I just want to take a break. Mm. And so there were times when we just had to put the film away and take a couple weeks and breathe and spend time with our family and go visit here or whatever. And it ended up working out. It's going to go live next week. Yeah. It's not perfect, but it's great. We did the best we could be, and I think it tells the message that we hope to tell, and it's right. We didn't rush it. It's good enough.
That's awesome. Cool.
Thanks.
Yeah. No, I'm so proud of you and Nicole and how it turned out.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Kelly watched it and she's like, I really like that. I wasn't sure if I would, thinking, it's like a mountain bike movie or something, but yeah, she was super pumped.
That's nice.
One more question. We'll see if we can get to online questions after this. What do you think you'll do next? Would you ever want to do something like this again? Assuming the process of premieres and maybe festivals and stuff is over. What do you think about next?
I don't know. I know that I love riding my bike, and that's going to continue to be a focus in my life, because when I'm riding and I'm working on that craft that I love so much, I'm just happier. So, I would love to keep making mountain bike projects.
Yeah.
I love it so much. I feel like the bike is truly the tool, and the world and the trails and the stuff you can build and the stuff that's been there for millions of years.
Yeah.
To go ride it's just amazing. And so for that reason, I want to continue to develop and grow in my riding. Fortunately, I have great, amazing friends that push me in all different ways. But Mitch Ropolato, every time I ride with him, he's given me pointers and helping me, with line choice and all these little nuances. And, there's people out there in the industry that I aspire to be like, R-Dog, style master, 360, and just his approach to riding, I just love so much. You have Bryn Atkinson can slice up a trail and just, oh my gosh, I just want to go ride a trail.
Yeah.
There's so many others, but I want to just keep working on the craft of riding my mountain bike, and whatever comes of that comes. I enjoy all of it. And yeah, as far as doing like another epic ride like this, like right now, no, I don't have it in me. But if something comes about and it feels passion filled, maybe.
Okay.
So yeah,
cool.
I guess I just don't know, but I know that I'm going to keep following the passion.
Okay. Cool. Well, it seems like it pays off when you do. So
well,
good
likewise. Look at Vital.
Thanks.
So cool.
Yeah. All right. If you've heard those beeps, the GoPro doesn't want to stay on. So sorry about that throughout the episode. This will be first time. I've never done online questions, but we can see the chat right here. So
yeah.
Got one spammer about a new dating app for all ages. All right, I'm going to scroll through here. It's tons of praise. That's all everyone's saying.
People are so nice.
Biggest takeaway was the power of the mind from Sam Blaine.
Cool.
The kindest humans I've met from Ethan Godwin. Todd Toth. So good. That's cheating though, because he works for Vital. See some questions here. One of the sickest people on the planet. Such a humble, down-to-earth guy.
I'm just...
All right, well, there's not a lot of questions right now, which is fine. But
okay.
You would do the Q&As after the show, and you mentioned people like to know the bike tech.
Okay.
So
yeah.
One of the questions I had in there that I forgot, whose idea was it to mess with tire pressure and even like fork pressure on the Snotch?
Yeah, so the way I ride, I hate touching my bike. It's like I like my bike to be set up a certain way, and I don't touch it.
Okay.
I go ride Whistler, and I come back and hit the Boise Bike Park on the same bike with the same settings. I hate touching my bike and I hate changing bikes too. That's another thing that I'm blown away when riders have all these different bikes. I like to know when I get on my bike right where everything is. Landing in a manual, switching that up, the wheels all over, settings are all over, and it's just too much for me to comprehend. So I keep the same pressures in the suspension, the tires, everything all the time. So touching the bike was not my idea. I didn't want to. But Greg and Kyle Mears were just like, we've got to do something, because I was getting discouraged and having a can-do mindset. You start thinking like, okay, what can I do? Like, I gotta obviously train physically, but I need to do some stuff to this bike to get up that frickin' Snotch. So it came down to letting out tire pressure. We went down all the way to 11 psi.
Wow, really?
And then
were you max grip on the rear for this?
No, because that tire I felt like was too soft a lot. I needed a little bit more bite.
Okay.
Because that tough sandstone, it's just kind of just the max grip just kind of went.
Kind of folds a little bit or something. Yeah.
So the Max Terra was the compound.
Okay.
3C, and then the fork. I slammed the stem, and then the fork I went down to 50 psi, and I turned the rebound all the way on, so it was as.
Oh, so it wouldn't come back at you.
So it wouldn't come back out, because if I got bounced back, it was game over.
Okay.
So that's what I did, and I did it just for the Snotch. The beginning, the end was back at my normal PSIs, and everything was how I like it.
Okay.
But that Snotch was definitely...
It's rock crawling.
It was rock crawling, exactly.
Yeah.
It was rock crawling strategy. And, I mean, that thing was 37%, and there was a foot gap that I had to jump up, and there was rocks that I had to match pedal strokes through. And it was just such a mind melter.
Yeah.
But we figured it out.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Cool.
And like, yeah, one thing I want to say is there's people out there that can climb way better than me. They could do that snotch. No question.
You're being
but
humble again.
That's why I want this thing focused on my process and like, here's what I did to make this thing happen in my world. So yeah, that's kind of the bike setup, but
Okay.
that is what it is.
I like that you're kind of a non-nerd. I think it's awesome. I saw Mitch Ropalato says that your mustache looks good.
Mitch Ropalato says that?
He did, yeah. He chimed in.
Thank you, Mitch.
Who? Patrick Kelly.
Okay.
Did accomplishing something as challenging as this make other challenges seem less daunting? That's a great question.
Yeah, absolutely. I said in the end of the film when I made it, like, this is a bike ride. This is an experience that I'm really fortunate to have personally. But I hope to be able to pull from this throughout my life. Like, I know there's tough challenges ahead. Yeah. I am a human like everyone else, and we experience sickness, death, struggle all together, you know, and like I am really grateful for this experience, and I hope to be able to pull from it in those situations. And I just hope it's kind of like that for other people too. It's just a unique thing, and I feel super grateful to be part of it, really.
Yeah. No, I think it's pretty evident with the response you've had after the movies that you're hitting that there for everyone.
Crazy.
So, yeah, it's awesome. Real talk. Can you give Spomer some GoPro chesty adjustment tips? Thanks, Todd. Blair Reed. Thanks
Blair.
Fellas. Absolute legends. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah. Floss out the movie. Where can we see it? How can we see it? All that good stuff. And we'll wrap it up. It's raining. I want to go ride the rut track. So.
Yes. Okay, so it's coming out on Canyon's YouTube channel next Wednesday.
Okay.
And
it's
it'll
November
just
2nd.
November 2nd, I think at 8 or 9 Pacific time.
Okay.
So yeah, it'll be free. You'll see trailers and teasers and links throughout the mountain bike platforms, and there's also an article that Kim wrote with Bicycling Mag, and we've tried really hard to make sure that's not behind any paywalls, and she goes more into the mental side and breaks down that, because she knows my life better than I do now. She called everybody and picked their brains. She's an amazing rider. She truly loves her craft. And so there's going to be an article that will be print and online with Bicycling Mag. But yeah, I mean, YouTube next Wednesday, it's going live.
Yeah. And then one more premiere in Encinitas. Is it sold out?
I don't think so.
Okay.
So if you're in Southern California,
come on, SoCal.
Come on. Yeah. Doing I think it's going to keep going. Like, I'm going over to Hood River November 10th and doing a screening there.
Yep.
And, just want to do as much good with this as possible. So we'll have an intake form. If you're a trail org or community that wants to have it, I'd love to come out and talk about this stuff. And then the ticket sales go to your trail org.
Cool.
So we'll figure that out. But yeah, I'm just grateful for people, and seems like people are enjoying it, and that makes me feel really good.
It should. It's awesome.
Thanks.
All right. Hey, Ron Burgundy, we know who he is. You're on DHR2's front and rear.
DHR2's front and rear.
2.4.
2.4. Don't change.
All right. Don't change ever. That's what I'm running to. All right. We'll end with Luca Cometti's question.
Okay.
What's your go-to bonk snack of choice?
Oh, I hate when I bonk. So the worst bonk to date with the free radicals and Nate Hills at Whistler. Day 7 in Whistler. Completely underestimated the Lord of the Squirrels ride. Anyways, bonking sucks, but probably a Lara bar. That thing's quick burning. You get feeling pretty good pretty quick. It's kind of like a banana, but you can throw it in your pouch, so it's not going to get smashed. So a Lara bar.
All right.
Bring a Lara bar this Saturday, Luca. We'll do a big ride.
So neat. Well, Braydon, thank you.
Thank you.
It's been an honor to have you here. It's awesome to know you as a friend. Like, we've grown to know each other, and yeah, just stoked on what you're doing for local community, for everyone out there. And
thank you
it's
so
been a blast. And thanks for being kind of second guinea pig for all this live stuff. This is the first live in person, so thanks.
It's cool. It's fun. Thanks for having me.
All right.
I really appreciate everything you do too. And thanks everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, for sure. It's been awesome. So
being part of this.
Yeah, thank you. Yep. All right. We're going to turn her off here, but we'll put all this podcast in the podcast channel. You'll be able to watch it again on YouTube, our channel on Vital MTB. But Braydon, thank you. Everyone out there, thank you.